Cool. Okay, so welcome to my presentation on teaching, learning and assessment. I want to start off by saying I'm going to go from experiences that I've had in the past 5-6 years of being at the school that I'm at and how it's changed like from the first year till now. And like, for the last 2 years or so I've been lucky enough to be offered the role that I've been given, and it's been extremely different to when I first started. First started as like a PETA, you very much followed what other people set for you. And I think actually it was a blessing in disguise because you got to see how things were done and you think, oh, okay, I might change that. And when it got to last year, here you go, you start making those changes. So the first thing I want to look at is Bloom's taxonomy in PE. We've looked at using that an awful lot since I've started this course, I have to say. The lady that's in the PE department as well is an MQT, so she's just newly qualified. She uses this in her lesson plan as well. So the first section of it is basically kids, when they're at like the kind of minimum level, they're just showing basic skills. For them to progress, they need to show the skills to other people, so it's that kind of, that little bit of pressure that's put on them. And then they're starting to advance themselves a little bit more, so they're starting to show a more in-depth kind of demonstration, so their kind of knowledge base is obviously improving. They're then starting to assess other people, so they can use the things like the iPads or the tablet or whatever, film the performance, and just give like a basic feedback to them. Again, that shows a more in-depth knowledge of what it is that they're looking at. And then for the highest level, so kind of the level 5, we're looking for the demonstration to be at the highest level. We're looking for them to be able to still do the assessment, but also can they offer feedback afterwards? And the feedback they give, can they give balanced feedback? Can it be looking at positives, negatives, and if there is something that they can improve upon, how do they improve upon it? What I'd also say as well is that I try and use it in my learning questions and success criteria as much as possible. I don't know if you can see that, so apologies if it's quite blurred, but the way that we kind of word what we're looking for from them, we try and focus very kind of, well, not loosely, but we do try and use the kind of Bloom side of things to try and show that. So listing the strategies and describing understanding for kind of your 1s and 2s. The mid section is demonstrating the key skills of the strategy in practice and in match play. And obviously that pushes on to the analysing of the strategies and making key decisions in match play as well. So where we tried to do that right from the off this year, the kids can almost walk into a lesson now and they can almost preempt what's going to be here, here and here by what's put up there, because it tends to be very, very similar with regards to listing, demonstrating, analysing. That's like a recurring thing now. And as much as sometimes it might need mixing up a little bit and it might need changing, actually for some of them, to get into the routine of seeing that on a regular basis, they feel a lot more comfortable in their learning. And I personally feel like their understanding and their kind of engagement in the lessons this year has been a big improvement already from last year, and this could possibly be a small part of that. So, operant conditioning. I was just watching Big Bang Theory, if I'm honest, and I saw that classic one where Sheldon was rewarding Penny with the chocolates because she couldn't stop talking on the phone while she was watching telly and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, oh, actually, that's kind of, that relates to that quite well. And then I kind of thought to myself, let's kind of research it a little bit more. And actually I found that we do it a lot in PE now, and I haven't really realised it, if I'm honest. And then as I look back through kind of the pictures and the videos of what it was that we're currently doing, I thought, wow, crikey, we are doing it quite a lot. So that leads me to the YouTube video. This video shows how you would use operant conditioning in PE really, really well, I think. And the guy sounds a bit drab, but he does explain it better than I do. Get rid of that?
Yeah, just
succeed in that practice. First thing that happens is a teacher needs to present a stimulus in a relevant sports situation. Right? So they're going to present a puzzle in a sports situation, or something to get that learner interested. The learner, through trial and error, will react to the stimulus. So they might try something to react to the stimulus in that given sports situation. As the learner reacts, either correctly or wrongly, the teacher will try and shape or modify their behaviour. And when the learner performs the correct response, so what the teacher wants them to do, the teacher will then use what we call positive reinforcement, which we'll talk about in the lesson, or a reward.
Okay,
So let's take...
I felt like that explained it reasonably well. And then as I was kind of looking back through our kind of sort of photos and videos and stuff, I found one lesson that the female teacher Laura did, and it was a netball lesson. And I looked back through the photos, and almost looking down through the photos, you could see this happening as you look down through them. So she was presenting that stimulus. She was showing them how to produce, it looked like a chest pass. She then let them go off in their own small groups and experiment with that chest pass. And when asking her about it, it wasn't just a case of, okay, you pair up, we'll go into three, practice how to do a chest pass. It was a case of, right, can you come up with your own game or activity to demonstrate your understanding of that chest pass? So they're in charge of their own learning straight away. From that, if she moved around and found that actually their activity or game wasn't quite showing their understanding of how to do chest pass, she would step in and say, okay, maybe we could try and do this, maybe we could do that, this might help. And then from that, they got put into slightly bigger matches. There's a case of, look, well done, you've done that really, really well. I might be using that next lesson, which is what she did with one of the groups there. So straight away, those kids have come up with that activity and they know that Miss is going to use it next lesson. That's fantastic for them. Okay, so self-assessment is massive in PE at the moment, and obviously we kind of heard it a bit there from Steve as well. From our point of view, we're always trying new ways of self-assessing, because I think sometimes it can get a bit kind of vanilla and stale with the kids, because it can sometimes be the same old thing again and again. And for those that maybe don't catch on to it very well, it doesn't work for them. And I hadn't really realised that last year. When I looked at it this year and maybe got some feedback from the pupils, it's been quite interesting to hear that actually some of them don't feel like they benefit from it, which I found really, really interesting and useful. So straight away we kind of chose a different way of doing it with them. We tried that, and that seems to work a little bit better. There will still be pupils that it doesn't work for, and that actually we will probably choose to not use it for them now. Something we like to do an awful lot is if someone cannot take part in a PE lesson for whatever reason, there is normally a tablet or an iPad to hand that they could use during the lesson if we so wish. This young gentleman here was filming this young lad during the lesson. We were looking at utilising space in this lesson, so he was trying to film for a very kind of short periods of time, trying to utilise space. Without me asking him to, this man took this guy off to the side, said, right, have a look at this, what do you reckon? There you go. And before he gave the feedback, this guy was already coming up with improvements that he could do. So I thought, quickly get a camera, let's get this will be good for Thursday. And yeah, like this, this guy kind of gave himself some feedback, and thought, right, I'm going to do that now. And then he went off, he tried to improve himself. It improved a little bit. Even if it doesn't improve there and then, you kind of know that because you've watched yourself on there and it's logged up here, when you get to the next lesson, you kind of know what you need to do next again and again and again. And the more that we do this with certain pupils, the more it benefits them on a longer term basis. In previous years, I've been quite guilty of expecting improvements like that and not understanding that actually sometimes it can take a bit of a process and that it's kind of drawn up sometimes. So this one here as well, video analysis can link in with the self-assessment stuff as well. This is a girl called Lexi who was with us last year, and she kept struggling with her kind of hurdling technique. I had a TA in the lesson, so I was like, right, if you just stay here a sec, I'm going to pop into the store with Lexi, I'm going to ping it to the TV, and I'm going to show her where she could improve on her stride length after going over the hurdle. Now, as much as that's me giving her feedback, in the time it took for us to get from the hurdles area to the storeroom, she was already coming up with improvement targets for herself before she'd even watched this. And then once she had seen this and then been given the feedback from me, she was giving herself targets from that TV over to the hurdles area, and then as soon as she went in there was an impact straight away. Her hurdling technique had improved, the stride length had improved as well. And actually what's really interesting is that they can go up to other students then as well and say, guess what I've just done? I've just been in to see myself on the telly, it was so cringy, but I managed to see that actually my stride length was this, this and this. What's yours like? And suddenly it's then peer assessing and it leads on to other stuff as well. Something else as well is they are encouraging us to use English and maths across the curriculum as much as possible. Sometimes in PE it can be really difficult to do that, can't it?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. Trying to show it in lesson planning and stuff can be really difficult, and having the ability to show things like angles, to show things like shapes, straight lines or playing in triangles in football, little things like that can help an awful lot. And using video analysis is a fantastic way of trying to get that across. But it's not just the math side of stuff, it's when you use the video analysis and you give feedback, that feedback has to be said properly. Otherwise it's pointless, they're not going to understand what's going on. So actually the wording they use can obviously cover that kind of English side of stuff as well. Another reason why I feel like the video analysis is beneficial is for those that struggle to get engaged with PE, or generally hate PE, and there are still a few, we've not quite got rid of them all yet, using something like this can be fantastic for some of them. It really can be. Although they're not physically demonstrating themselves and they might not be the best at it physically, the fact that they've got an iPad in their hand and that they're pressing that record button and that they're doing this and they're talking to people and they're able to do it, it's on the telly, it's a fantastic thing. And I think I said it in a previous presentation, but we had a young lad in year 7 last year who would not walk in that main door to the PE hall during PE. He would stay on the outside, and the TA would have to do the activity outside of the sports hall. So although we're in there, I can't see him, I don't know what he's doing. As soon as we gave him the iPad or the tablet and said, right, okay, can you come in and just film what's going on here, you don't have to take part. He absolutely loved it. He almost said actually that he didn't want the TA in the lesson because he wanted to do it himself. He didn't want any help with it at all. And seeing him coming in and doing that, wanting to do it independently, shows a real kind of improvement in his self-esteem, self-confidence, and actually it did have an impact on the rest of school to a small degree. It wasn't a major change, but it did have a small impact. And for us, if we can do that, that's fantastic. Okay, so peer assessment is also something I've kind of spoken about a little bit. It's something, again, that we like to look at a lot in PE. It can show a deeper understanding of knowledge. It can, again, give people more self-esteem, more self-confidence, because socially they're able to talk to people and give that feedback. And sometimes in the English department, we had a meeting last Tuesday, they want us to go through this big list of vocabulary with the kids in as many lessons as possible. And in previous years, the PE teacher would be sitting there thinking, why am I here tonight? This doesn't apply to us whatsoever. But actually, it really can apply to us because we can say to these guys, right, start the lesson on the whiteboard. You've got these 3 keywords, bang, bang, bang. Can you get those 3 keywords into your feedback today at some point? Suddenly they're trying to put those words into the sentences they use, and it kind of broadens their understanding of using certain words in certain contexts. I said to this guy here to watch this young man who's on the ball now, quite a high level footballer. This man was struggling to get to a 5. He's very much a level 4 student and likes to stay there, that's his comfort zone. And I thought, if he could talk to the guy that is generally quite good at football and give him some improvement points, targets, it could help Harry to deepen his knowledge a little bit. Because if he's watching someone who's already very good, and is trying to pick fault, he's watching really, really carefully what that guy's doing. He's trying to give improvement targets to someone who is already quite good. So if you do that on a consistent basis, he suddenly starts to think about his own performance when he goes back on the pitch. His practical level rises. He's also done it there as well because he's given that feedback. I don't know about you as well, but as soon as I started football coaching, my own football game improved quite a bit because suddenly you start to think about your own performance a lot more as well.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Peer assessment as well, which actually I've not put on the slides. Peer assessment within your kind of colleagues is massive, absolutely massive. I've learned the most this year from my colleague, who's obviously just qualified as the OQT, because the ideas that she comes up with, I just haven't thought about before, and it's really nice to see someone coming in with those fresh ideas and these fresh views, and actually you can kind of learn off that and mould it to your own idea almost. Unfortunately, I've got the job of making sure that we can afford it if it costs money and stuff. Here we go. But also the kind of logistics of it as well, and that's what I found difficult this year. Is you can have as many ideas as you want that you want to put throughout school, but actually logistically it has to work throughout school. It has to work with everybody. And going to a maths teacher and saying, "Can Jimmy come out your maths lesson again because we need to do an active warning with him?" They're politely going to tell you to go away. No, he needs to do his maths because it's important. So it's a really difficult one to try and balance, some of these new ideas and stuff as well. I think also with the peer assessment, when you have activities like swimming, our pool isn't quite big enough for a class of 30 to go into, so you will always have a third of kids on the side waiting to go in. So having a peer assessment activity in every swimming lesson is absolutely massive. It keeps them engaged in the lesson, it stops them being sat off on the side for 15 minutes, freezing because they're not actually in the pool yet. And it's amazing because when they go in the pool, they're doing what they've told the other kids to do as well, so it keeps rising in their performances. What we've also looked at doing recently is grouping the classes up into specific groups. And the groupings can be done on any basis really. You can have a mixed group of high, middle, lower ability. You can have a group of all higher ability or middle, whatever you want. And what you can do is basically, so this was for our handball session. You've got 3 teams, red, blue, orange. You've got 3 rounds that display through the lesson. The guys in the top row are the ones actually playing the game. The ones in the bottom row are coached by the third team. And that works on like a rotation basis, as you can see as you go along. So that gives every single kid in the class the chance to peer assess. It gives every kid the chance to try and improve their performance from peer assessment. And actually, if they wanted to as well, we've even linked them up with a player from that other team. So if they struggle to look at a performance as a whole and as a team, actually if they could just focus on one person and have a specific area to look at, so for example, how good is their dribbling, are they using both hands, they can just focus on that one person the whole time. And then after the game, right, you go to that specific person, you give feedback to that individual. It's quite a nice way of doing it. This has worked really well in food tech as well, actually. In my food tech lessons, I've got a really, really mixed ability in my Thursday food tech group. And pairing them up with different ability pupils has a massive impact on the way that they cook, massive impact. Something as simple as chopping an onion. If someone of a higher ability sees that this person is slightly struggling, suddenly they're stepping in straight away. They're saying, "Look, maybe you should try and do this. Claw your hand a little bit, blah blah blah." And that proves them straight away. Mr. Bingham's not done anything. Mr. Bingham's just kind of watched on and seen those guys, lead it. So, touching upon the kind of video analysis and the peer assessment and kind of bringing it together, we've used something called Huddle for the last couple of years. This can be an online tool, or you can use it within school, it's totally up to you. Here you can upload videos online. The guys can go away during an ICT lesson in school, out of school for a homework task. They can watch the video that they have a code for, so each video has a code. So I might have a year 8 lesson, they might be doing, I think that was handball, this is your code, go home, this is your homework, watch the video. And it's very similar to what Steve showed us with his tablet there. They can pause the video, they can write things on there. If they pause it at a certain point, let's say they pause it 4 seconds in, they can see an issue. Up here becomes like little tags and tabs, so they can say 4 seconds in, little Jimmy needs to pull out into space a little bit more. Does he do that? Question mark. And then you kind of go on through the video and you can keep doing that. And suddenly down here you've got loads and loads of tabs so the teacher can go through and it demonstrates that kids understand it really well. Okay, so 2 stars and a wish is something we've done with our Key Stage 2 pupils a lot this year, especially in English, Maths and Science. And we've been trying to bring it into PE as much as possible as well. That leads us to our game. To show the video analysis, to show the peer assessment and 2 stars and a wish, Mr. Treble is going to throw that piece of paper into this bin. I shall film it with my phone, and I'm going to hand the phone over to you 3, and I'd like you to use the analysis on there to maybe give them some feedback. 2 stars and a wish would be fantastic.
2 stars enough.
We'll let him do it again, we'll see if he improves from your feedback. Right, hold on. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So, sorry it's a small screen, I'm trying to bring the bigger one into it. So what you would do, bottom left hand corner, you can press play, and above that it says a quarter. If you click on that, it can slow it down more for you or speed it up depending on what you want. So, and also you can pause it whenever you want as well.
Slowly a little bit too
Not bad.
Look at that. It wrote back to me and everything.
So top right corner is like a little pencil-y pen thing. If you click on that, some options come up. So you've got angles there, you can do shapes, just normal lines. So give yourself 1 minute. Can you look back through the video, maybe use some of those bits and bobs and try and do that?
Where was it that you used?
Yeah. Put your finger on the bottom bit as well, you can move it along quicker if you swipe left and right.
Is it just about to throw it? Just got to get used to what it is. Where's the ball gone? Oh, there it is, in the middle.
So,
It needs to improve the angle.
yeah.
I think that if you just tap that on the screen, it would create that angle. If you draw the angle, maybe.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's a bit steep.
That looks like one of the,
When you drag it around, perhaps it was there, we need to be a bit higher maybe.
So if you could picture this on a big like Apple telly as well. Yeah.
So do you think using that projection is going to
Well, I
help
don't know
you?
that actual projection.
That's really high,
That's
yeah.
quite a big angle.
Yeah.
I bet I'm gonna...
Then you might hit the ceiling. But
So-
yeah, I can see what you mean about.
So what was positive about his performance? What did he do well?
Well, the direction was good, and then he
Yeah.
hit the bucket.
I guess.
But the projection was not high enough to actually get in.
So I didn't have it high enough, so what did I do wrong?
Didn't put enough effort in, Steve.
Tricks right now.
Oh, release time.
There you go.
Oh yeah, you won about that earlier. Release time.
Alright, so release time then, try and get higher angle, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Look up a
release
little
too
bit.
soon? Yes.
No pressure, Steve.
Yay.
do you reckon, guys?
Oh, improvement.
Well, I think if you video it, I think his hand was a bit close.
Is it? Cool. Yeah. So like I said, if you can just picture that being on an iPad and then projected onto your telly, it's not just like